Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of CWN Weekly, episode number 13. Today is Friday the 13th, 2020, and all I can say, it's been one hell of a week. So you'll notice that the graphics down below are in a kind of a light blue there as well. You see me rocking the blue hat, the blue shirt. I will get to that too at the very end of the show, but usually you see the red of CWN. But like I said, at the end of the show, I will kind of touch base on why it is blue. Probably going for blue through the end of November at least. And like I said, I will leave it at that. But it is Friday the 13th. Chris Maloney, like I said, London, Ontario, Canada here. It's cold outside. Looks like it was going to snow. Not sure if it is. I got the blinds closed behind me, so I'll have to take a look after the show is done. But yeah, it is getting cold. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's back up to 12, 13 degrees. So it's hit and miss weather. You know, everybody's going to get sick, colds, everything else. But it's the nature of the beast, so to speak. So guys, as we start off every single week, anniversaries and birthdays. So November the 13th through the 19th. So we get Sunil Singh, born in 1984, 36 years old today. He is obviously of the Singh brothers off of WWE, as well as the Bollywood boys out there for ECCW. Back in the day, I didn't think he was that old, though. I didn't believe he was 36 years old. I had to double check that. But happy birthday, Sunil Singh, as well. Today, rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. He passed away 38 years old back in 2005. So I believe it's 15th. I believe it was 2005, 15th anniversary of the passing of Eddie Guerrero. Like I said, 38 years old, acute heart failure. It was interesting with Eddie because of the fact that he had gone and cleaned up his life so much that he quit alcohol, quit all the drugs, rekindled his marriage, obviously with Vicky Guerrero, made a second shot at life, so to speak, and just becoming that fun-loving character that you saw on TV. Rey Mysterio was very close to him. Chris Jericho was very close to him. Batista was very close to him. He was somebody that if you went to the locker room and you saw Eddie Guerrero sitting there, basically you smile on your face. And he was a prankster too, but the story was that he was getting ready for pay-per-view in Minneapolis, and they end up finding him in his hotel room. He's I guess toothbrush in his hand, and but he went out, even though he was 38 years old. He went out being a good guy and basically not being that guy that had been arrested and then basically had gone and had gone into the drugs and the alcohol and everything else. But rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero there. Also rest in peace to Alex Trebek. Trebek passed away this past Sunday, November 8th, and at the age of 80 years old. 2-year battle with pancreatic cancer, and he was Canadian. Apparently, I think he was born in North Bay or Sudbury. I think it was Sudbury, and then spent some time in Ottawa. I think he worked for CBC for 10 years, if I'm correct at that. But 80 years old, a long life. He apparently had done 35 more episodes of Jeopardy that we will see air. And apparently he passed away last Sunday with his friends and family by his side. But tough. Alex Trebek, passing away at 80 years old because he still seems so young, like he still seems so full of energy. And if you know anything about me personally, I'm an Ottawa Senators fan, and him doing that draft pick, was absolutely amazing as well. And then I didn't realize the tie-ins to the city of Ottawa and the CBC and everything else. But anyways, guys, that is sad news as well. 80 years old, a long life, but pancreatic cancer he had to deal with at the very end there. So that sucks, and it's all sad at the same time. But we'll get to the news of the week. So New Japan Power Struggle live results: Naito versus Evil, Bushi versus Jay White were the main events over there. Excuse me, I'll just go through some of the matches here. So Toru Yano defeated Zack Sabre Jr. via counter to retain the King of Pro Wrestling 2020 championship. Never Openweight Championship match. Shingo Takagi defeats Minoru Suzuki to claim the championship there. Minoru can't seem to hang on to a championship. I know he's up there in age, but I am a fan of Minoru Suzuki there. Kazuchika Okada, Chris Jones. I'm going to say that once more. Kazuchika Okada He butchered the name last night in the Scumbags of Wrestling as I was watching it there, but maybe he can listen to me. And once more, Kazuchika Okada, Chris Jones, defeated Great Okan via referee stoppage. Then we all of a sudden we got the best of the Super Junior 27 lineups. I will go through that in a bit here because that is some major news. IWGP United States Championship right to challenge contract match. Kenta defeats Hiroshi Tanahashi to retain the briefcase. So that was the first briefcase up on the for grabs up on the line. Second one was IWGP Heavyweight and IWGP. I can't wait till they split. I'm just going to say the double championship. So I'm not saying basically 10 words for the same championship, so to speak. Anyways, so the double championship briefcase was on the line, and then Jay White ends up beating Kota Ibushi to basically claim that there. So basically, Jay White's going into championship match against Tetsuya Naito, and I will get to that momentarily as well. And then basically, main event of the night, IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Double title match was Tetsuya Naito defeating Evil to retain the title. So Naito comes out victorious on that one there. So pretty cool. Naito's still on top going into Wrestle Kingdom 15, of course. From there, like I said, card reveal for Best of the Super Juniors 27th. I'm just going to bring that up quickly here if I can find it. Super J card. Oh, nope, here we go. A lot of events coming up for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they are starting this weekend. I'll get to that through the show as well. But like I said, cards revealed for Best of the Super Junior 27th. That was released on November the 7th. You can check that out, New Japan 1972.com, or you can check that out on CWNonline.ca, of course. So in the event itself, though, you got Taguchi, Master Wato Show, Robbie Eagles, Hiromu, Takahashi, Bushi, Desperado, Kanemaru, Dookie, and Ishimori. I think Kanemaru is out, though, and I will get to that during the news here. And like I said, Taiji Ishimori is the final competitor there. So that goes all the way from this starting this coming Sunday all the way through, I think it's December the 12th or the 11th. I'll have to double check the dates on that. But that coincides with the World Tag League 2020 as well. So first time they've ever done it, but it is something to see. And again, it's if you're into the New Japan style tournaments, this is for you. But it's going to be a huge month leading into Christmas, obviously, for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Super J card had been announced as well. The brackets have been revealed. So I will bring that up as well if I can find it. And yep, found it pretty quick here. So I will get better at my organization skills. So a surprise announcement of Super J Cup 2020 on December 12th has fans buzzing all week. Now the full card for a one-night tournament have been revealed. The event will see a huge return in tag team action in addition to the entire tournament with the following first round matchups. Now this is cool because the fact is you've got a lot of different talent from all across the world and different promotions as well. So Clark Connors taking on Chris Bay, like I said, all over the world. So Chris Bay, obviously from Impact Wrestling there. You got ACH and TJP going at it. TJP is part of Impact Wrestling as well. You've got, where are we here? Ray Horace from ROH taking on Blake Christian. Leo Rush taking on El Fantasmo, who's Canadian. Obviously biased there. I want to see him win again. He won in 2019. Ren Narita in action as well. And that looks like to be it from the what I've got in front of me here. So anyway, Super J Cup, like I said, December the 12th taking place. From there, AEW Full Gear 2020 results. So guys, I don't like to do things twice. So anyways, check out CWN Recap AEW Full Gear 2020, as well as the prediction show. They are on YouTube, as well as any audio as well. Facebook, I'm not sure. I think they're on Facebook as well, but Facebook has recently changed their style, so it's a little bit harder to find, but I'm all about the YouTube, Twitch, as well as the audio. So like I said, you can check out the recap of Full Gear there. The biggest things of the night, though, basically Darby Allin winning the TNT Championship, the Young Bucks winning the Tag Team Championships there, and then basically Mox and Eddie Kingston going at it, and that was a good fight there in the main event for the I Quit match. So absolutely amazing. A lot of AEW news coming up as well this week, so we'll check that out. AEW announces Revolution pay-per-view for February. So it's taking place February the 20-something or other. I've got it in front of me here, I believe. And nope, I don't. So check that out. They'll be on CWNonline.ca. But anyways, guys, that is the next pay-per-view for AEW and Revolution pay-per-view taking place in February. It's quite a few weeks until, obviously, quite a few months actually until the next event takes place. But I think Tony Khan had said there's one taking place next month, something to do with some kind of beach title or something like that. So check that out. But like I said, more information, CWNonline.ca. The Mortician, the story of Paul Bearer, took place this past Sunday on WWE Network. Watch that. It was pretty cool because it talked about his start as Percy Pringle. It was interesting to see him managing The Undertaker in The Undertaker's very first match ever, and not as The Undertaker, but I think they called him Big Red. And, it was interesting because you had a blonde-haired, skinnier version of Paul Bearer, so Percy Pringle. And then you had The Undertaker, still the same guy, as big as he was, under a mask, though. So it was interesting to see. But that was The Mortician, the story of Paul Bearer, like last Sunday that played on the WWE Network. So check that out. This Sunday, I think, is the Brothers of Destruction, which I'm looking forward to as well. So heavy weekend as far as wrestling goes, just as far as pay-per-views, as well as just shows in general that, I'm looking forward to seeing. Happy 50th birthday to Chris Jericho, obviously took place on Sunday as well. And then Montreal Screwjob, the 23rd anniversary of it was this past Sunday. Interesting that we still talk about it as if it happened yesterday, because obviously, I mean, it's one big conspiracy of whether or not it was a work or a shoot. And I mean, you think about this, and the biggest thing is old Bret Hart went back to the locker room and punched Vince McMahon. It's the wrestling business, though. I mean, stuff like that happens. You know what I mean? But the fact is, when it comes down to it, it's a work or shoot. It doesn't matter. It's still 23 years later. We are still talking about it. So very interesting, concept, the conspiracy theories that go along with it. A lot of wrestling fans to this day still think it was a work, but a lot of wrestling fans to this day still think it was a shoot. I don't know. To me, I think it's still a shoot. I think some of the stuff that happened was worked, but I think, the way it went down was a complete shoot. But I don't know. It's the more you kind of think about it, the more you can kind of flip-flop. So I'll leave it at that. World Tag League 2020 entrants are set, and I believe I have this one up in front of me here. Yeah, I do. So I'm gonna go through this here. So World Tag League 2020 entrants. So you've got Finn Juice Robinson, and David Finlay. You've also got the Dangerous Techers, which are Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi, who are the current IWGP Tag Team Champions. You've also got the Guerrillas of Destiny. I love these guys. I'm not sure about Tama Tonga without the beard, though. Kind of looks. I don't know. He's kind of a cross between like Roman Reigns and I can't think. He looks familiar without the beard, but I can't really recognize who I can think of who he would look like. Anyways, there's a stumble of words, but Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Guerrillas of Destiny in there as well. Hanare Ace, so it's Toa Hanare as well as Hiroshi Tanahashi in this. You've got Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and then you've got Toru Yano, Tomohiro Ishii, and then Shingo Takagi, who's the new open weight champion in Sanada. That'd be an interesting combo. And then you got Evil and Yujiri Takahashi as a tag team as well. So that should be interesting. Oh, and I missed a couple teams, actually. Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens from the Bullet Club. You've got Great Okan and X. Not sure who X is. And that is it. So that starts up. I think they're going back-to-back dates. So I think you'll see night one of the Super Junior 27 taking place. And then the very next event, you'll see World Tag League. And then they'll flip-flop all the way through the 19 nights, I believe it is. And we'll have to wait and see. All right, Sean, I'll give you some praise here. Sean Bates, biggest work of all time, referring to the Montreal screw job there. I will have to agree to disagree. But like I said, the more I think about it, the more I could see it going the other way there. Tyson Kidd right now is a guest on the New Day Field of Power podcast that was released on the 9th. Davey Boy Smith Jr. Taking on Fatu for the World Heavyweight Championship. Headlines MLW Fusion November 18th for the restart. So that is taking place on BN Sports as well, I think, of DAZN Fubo Sports Network, and then they announced the YouTube as well. So they're moving the show from Saturday nights on YouTube over to Wednesday nights on YouTube, so you'll be able to catch that. But yeah, it's interesting. Tyson Kidd doing podcasts and Davey Boy Smith Jr. fighting for world titles. over there in Major League Wrestling MLW. So vote to determine the greatest match of the Undertaker's career right now is taking place just over there on WWE.com. You can go and on social media and vote for some of his best matches. Just going to bring up the article quickly here. Some of the matches in there, and voting is already taken place. It's already through the second round, but you've got, looks like Mankind versus Mankind of King of the Ring 98 is one of the matches. Kane at WrestleMania 14 is one of the matches. Versus HBK at WrestleMania 26. Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2015. You've got versus The Rock and Kurt Angle, which was Vengeance 2002. Matches against Edge, matches against Batista, more matches against HBK. Undertaker versus AJ Styles, WrestleMania 36, that theatric match. So a lot of different types of matches, but it's what a career. I mean, all of a sudden you go back all the way through 2002 for one of the matches I had mentioned there. But then all of a sudden you've got 1997 In Your House, Bad Blood, him versus Shawn Michaels. So yeah, definitely an interesting tournament as far as the Undertaker's matches go. So yeah, check that out. Like I said, WWE.com. And it's interesting because I've been in a kind of a nostalgic wrestling fix lately. So I end up watching, like I said, I watched the Paul Bearer thing last week. Ended up listening to back-to-back episodes of Rowdy Piper on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast, and that was interesting. I've watched Survivor Series 1987. It's in its entirety in the past week. I think I mentioned that on last week's show. Last night, I started watching Survivor Series 1990. I think I got right up to... I think I got to the end of the Hogan match, but I didn't get into the Tito Santana Survivor Series match yet. 1990 was the one that they had the final Survivor match. So basically, anybody that had won had moved on to the finals. And I forgot with regards to, I think they called themselves the Visionaries, maybe. But it was Rick the Model Martel, Power and Glory, and the Warlord, and the whole team advanced. And so I'm kind of curious because it's been a while. Obviously, 1990s when, the Undertaker debuted, but I'm kind of curious to see the main event again, because I think it was Hogan, Warrior, and Santana that end up surviving. But to know that there was the whole team of the Powers, I almost said Powers of Pain, but the Power and Glory, the Warlord, as well as Rick the Model Martel, there were four guys right there. And so I'm interested to see. So I'll probably catch up on it the rest of it tonight. So we'll have to wait and see there. Report on the 9th, Tony Chimel let go from the WWE. Looks like he was one of the furloughs, but obviously all the names weren't released, but his name just came out this week. So, Tony Chimel was, to me, is always going to be the guy who announces Edge, and one of his best works was when Beth Phoenix got inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, and Chimel gets on the mic and he comes out and he announces Edge, and just the pop that the crowd gave him, and all of a sudden he's got tears in his eyes, and Beth Phoenix has got tears in her eyes, and just being the greatest wife in the world, so to speak. And it was just it was a cool moment, and Chimel was part of that. So it's interesting because Full Gear, I don't know if I announced it on the recap show, but Mike Chioda was part of it. And the fact is, Tony Chimel is one of those guys, so much wrestling knowledge, huge in the business. And I can't see him sitting on the sidelines for too long, because there's a lot of companies out there that could, use him, of course. Storming into the world of professional wrestling, article on the 10th by thebay.ca, I think it was. And it's not the Bay as in, the retail store. It's, I'm just going to bring this out. I'm going to make sure Bay Today. So it's not the bay.ca, it's baytoday.ca. But Lance Storm article, apparently he was born in North Bay. I didn't realize that. And all of a sudden he moved down to Sarnia, and then things took off from there. But interesting article, because it goes and talks about his ECW run to his WCW run. The picture on the website there shows him. Looks like New Blood rising for WCW, winning possibly the U.S. championship. And then you got Bret Hart raising one of his arms, and then Jacques Rougeau raising the other arm. I think that was New Blood Rising, took place in Toronto there, but interesting to see the three of them in the ring together, three proud Canadians, of course. So yeah, check that out, the baytoday.ca, or of course CWNonline.ca. You can find the article there as well. Big news of the week as far as video games go was AEW. So AEW has launched AEW Games, and they had a press conference, so to speak. with regards to the video games, and it was more than I thought it was going to be. I forgot all about it, and also I went to go tune in to, I think, AEW Dark, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, oh crap, so I had to go back and rewind it and watch it. But AEW's initial gaming offerings feature highly anticipated console game and 2 mobile games. So huge article on AEW, AllEliteWrestling.com, as well as you go to AEW Games. As far as YouTube goes, you can check out the press conference. It had Britt Baker, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, as well as Aubrey Edwards, doing it all up. But the big thing was they get a game that's coming out. It's going to be produced by Ukes. It's going to be kind of N64-ish as far as the No Mercy game that they had produced. They showed a clip of Kenny Omega taking on Chris Jericho in the video, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, Hikaru Shida comes down, and then it's Kenny Omega getting his butt kicked by Hikaru Shida. The graphics, obviously, they're in alpha mode right now, so it's nowhere close to being finished. But the game looks like it's going to be fun. It is interesting to see another wrestling game actually out there other than WWE. And it kind of made me sad because all of a sudden I'm watching, and true story, it's the geek in me, so to speak. But I'm watching AEW, well, not watching AEW, I'm watching WWE Survivor Series last night, 1990. And I was like, you know what? I want to go onto my Xbox and play Survivor Series. And it's like, wait a second, Battlegrounds came out this year, so I can't necessarily do that. But it'd be interesting to see what kind of match concepts they have as far as the AEW game goes. Obviously, Mimosa Mayhem match would be kind of cool. The Stadium Stampede match would be kind of cool as well. But it'll be interesting. And they've got intergender matches taking place. Like I said, Hikaru Shida taking on Kenny Omega in what they showed in the trailer there. And just the thoughts of like a Marco Stunt going up against somebody like Nyla Rose would be kind of funny to see there. Sean with some more comments tonight. He says, going to watch that event tonight. I'm assuming he was referring to Survivor Series 1990. And then I missed this, but he goes, the rated R superstar, and he did the superstar like Tony Chimel used to do. But yes, guys, check that out. AEW Games on YouTube or AllEliteWrestling.com. From there, big news, and I'm not a big fan of this here. Rascalz departing Impact Wrestling, final match set for next week. Desmond Xavier is 32 years old, Trey Miguel is 26, and Zachary Wentz is 26 as well. And guys, the reason I bring this up is because of the fact I think it's a huge loss for AEW. Now, one of the things that I had heard was basically Meltzer had announced that the contracts that were offered to the Rascalz weren't the greatest. And so the Rascalz were like, hey, sorry, we're done, and we're going to take our business elsewhere. WWE is apparently interested in, I think, Trey as well as Wentz. So the two 26-year-olds. I haven't heard anything about Dez, but I mean, it's interesting to know whether or not they do another 3-man group in the WWE. You could easily see Wentz and Dez become a tag team down there, especially down in NXT. No, excuse me, but the fact is, I think it's a huge loss for Impact Wrestling. I think of Impact Wrestling nowadays, I think of people like the North. I think of, talent like Chris Bay. I think of guys like the Rascalz, TJP, and that's when I think Impact Wrestling, that's what I think of. I don't necessarily think of the Chris Sabins or, the Eric Youngs or the Eddie Edwards. I think of that young roster that they have. But obviously, two guys, 26 years old, as well as you add in Dez to the mix, and they want the payouts. They want, it's pretty standard to say every wrestler wants to go to WWE. They want that payout. They want that mainstream, WrestleMania moment, so to speak. Like I just said, I was watching Survivor Series 1990 last night and ended up watching 87 in its entirety. That's the WWE fan in me. You know what I mean? First show I ever went to was the WWE show down in New Haven, Connecticut. So, it's in you. It's the, I don't think much has changed. Two 26-year-old guys, all of a sudden WWE's knocking at their door, especially with the way the NXT is now, especially with the way the Performance Center is now. They've managed to get through COVID-19, scraping by barely, so to speak, but they are still putting on shows every single week. And to me, it's tough to see guys like Ricochet being jobbed out on Monday Night Raw, so to speak. But maybe the Rascalz, so to speak, would have a better chance at doing something successful. But like I said, huge loss to Impact Wrestling. I thought it was a work. They're all of a sudden getting evicted from the treehouse, and next thing you know, all of a sudden it's all over the internet. Post wrestling as well as Wrestling Observer talking about it there. WWE thanks America's Armed Forces with 18th annual WWE tribute to the troops coming up December 6th on Fox. So look for that. Yoshinobu Nobu Kanemaru to miss Best of the Super Junior 27 series. I think it's Uemara. I think I got that right. Enters. So you will not be seeing Kanemaru take place, or wrestle in the Best of the Super Junior. So that was what I was talking about earlier on. All Elite Wrestling sides Jade Cargill to women's division. That was kind of out of the blue, and it was interesting to watch Impact AEW this week because of the fact that they had a different look, different feel, different graphics. They had almost like an edge to them, and it was nice to see. And then when she came out and cut that promo on Cody, and then Brandy come out, it was nice. And all of a sudden she starts mentioning Shaq. Apparently Shaq wants to get his hands on Jericho, so he's doing it through Cody Rhodes. But it's interesting to see. Like I said, they had an edge, so it'll be interesting to see where they go with this. Obviously, match coming up with Brandy. But this girl looks like she could destroy Brandy, so that'll be interesting there. Speaking of Brandy, Shot of Brandy this week, episode number 40 takes place. It's on YouTube right now. That was released on the 12th yesterday. Special guest, the birthday boy, so to speak, Chris Jericho, is on Shot of Brandy this week. Haven't seen that yet. Big news for Canadian wrestling fans, anybody who's a fan of Sportsnet 360. Carolyn Szwed, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Szwed. I think it's Szwed. Carolyn Szwed engaged. She announced on Instagram she's now living potentially in Edmonton. I know she's got ties there. I think maybe that's where her fiance lives. But she hasn't been on the Aftermath streams lately. And when I say that, it's been Jimmy Corderas and Nug, as well as Anthony Corelli, and then some new guy. And she hasn't been part of it, but she's been out there in Edmonton. She's been posting photos in this and that. And all of a sudden, she showed a photo with a ring on her finger now. So congrats to her. She'll be missed if she's no longer part of Aftermath or Sportsnet 360. But obviously, they're in a different phase right now because of COVID. So when all that settles down, it'll be interesting to see what happens with her, or whether or not she lands a job out there in Alberta. So, but congrats to Carolyn Szwed. I think that's how you pronounce it. New Year's Dash to hit Tokyo Dome City Hall January 6th. That was announced today. Interesting is I'm trying to picture a wrestling event happening at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto, or even here in London, Ontario at City Hall. It's like not happening, but Tokyo is completely different. So so you'll have basically 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom 15, and then New Year's Dash taking place the following night. So 3 big nights of action for New Japan. And right now I'm crying on the inside because I told my wife last year when I was watching New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom 14, I said I want to go to Japan, and I started planning it out and looking into costs for airfare and Airbnbs and transportation costs and food costs and everything else. And and all of a sudden it's like 3 nights, and I was like, oh, stupid COVID, So, anyways, the wrestling fan inside of me is still crying because I don't get to go to Japan next year. But maybe 16. We'll have to wait and see. So, Alex Zane signs WWE deal. Rascalz update. I talked about that earlier with regards to what the WWE, how they're knocking out the doors. So, and then finally, top 10 WWE Survivor Series shows of all time. So I haven't posted it yet, but my list is completed. You will see that launch every single day from now all the way through November 22nd, coinciding with the 2020 version of Survivor Series, 30 years of The Undertaker, obviously. So Survivor Series, my number 10 Survivor Series is this. And I want to bring it up here, just because I want to be able to tell you guys the matches. So Survivor Series 2005 is number 10 on my list. Took place November 27, 2005. Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Consisted of 6 professional wrestling matches involving wrestlers from the Raw and SmackDown brands. And ironically enough, when you go and look at the poster from 2005, it is The Undertaker on there, just his silhouette, and looks like he's coming out of hell. But when you look at the event itself, main event was this. So you had Team SmackDown, Batista, Bobby Lashley, JBL, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio as a team. taking on Team Raw, which is the Big Show, Carlito, Chris Masters, Kane, and Shawn Michaels. That right there, that's amazing itself. You also had like added matches like Theodore Long defeating Eric Bischoff. But then when you look at some of the other matches, Booker T, Chris Benoit was the match. And that was the single, so they're first in the best of 7 series for the United States Championship. And that was, they had done the same thing with Sheamus and Cesaro, who and they ended up coming tag team known as The Bar. But Booker T, Chris Benoit was trying to replicate what they had done back in WCW. Trish Stratus fought Melina. Triple H fought Ric Flair in a last man standing match. And then John Cena defeated Kurt Angle, retained the WWE Championship. But it was big names as far as its event went. And I think to me, it was the first time it was Team SmackDown, Team Raw at a Survivor Series. So anyways, guys, that is number 10 on my list there. No, I got to post this from Sean here. Talking about Carolyn's red. Millions of Canadian fanboys just had their hearts broken. He goes, "LOL, congrats, Carolyn." So yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's very great personality as far as who she is on air. And just a pleasure to watch. And Jimmy Corderas and Nug and Anthony Corelli have said nothing but great things about her. But yeah, congrats to Carolyn there. But yeah, guys, like I said, Survivor Series 2005, number 10 on my list. And like I said, I will be posting a new Survivor Series every single day through November 22nd. So look for number 10 on the website later on today, and then number 9 tomorrow, and so on. And you'll see my number 1 pick on November 22nd, coinciding with Survivor Series 2020. So look for that. Raw highlights for this past week. Riddle defeats Jeff Hardy and Elias to get into the Survivor Series team there. Truth defeats Drew Gulak to win back the 24/7 championships. Ali actually wrestled and won. He defeated Ricochet, and then McIntyre and the New Day defeats Orton, Miz, and Morrison in the main event there. Dark highlights had Chaos Project defeating TNT, and you wonder why I bring this up here. So Chaos Project, obviously Dr. Luther as well as Serpentico. Luther obviously is Canadian. They end up getting the win, but TNT is Terrence and Terrell Hughes. And if you guys don't know the name, that is Devon's boys there. So Devon Dudley's boys. And the cool thing about this, obviously you had Excalibur on commentary, but you also had Taz. And the ties that Taz has to Devon Dudley, he was given little kind of insights and this and that on TNT. And, it was kind of cool to see Devon's twin boys wrestle for the very first time, though. Whether or not they stay in AEW or get picked up someplace else, I don't know. But I mean, to me, just seeing Devon's boys wrestle on TV was kind of cool. And it's like Brian Pillman Jr. It's like, you don't even have to see the guy wrestle at all. The moment you see the name Pillman, it's like automatically as a wrestling fan, you're kind of drawn to it. So the same thing with the Terrence and Terrell. So congrats on getting the exposure. They end up taking the loss, but huge things for these guys down the road. Impact highlights, Havoc and Nevaeh defeats Tenille Dashwood, Madison Rayne. So Madison Rayne's comeback didn't last too long. Rohit Raju defeats TJP to retain. So TJP can no longer get any kind of it's X Division. I almost said Cruiserweight, but X Division championship matches as long as Rohit is still champ. Like I said, Rascalz got a victor from the Treehouse. And then Anderson defeats Alexander. So Carl Anderson defeats Alexander by DQ. ROH highlights, Brody King defeats Dalton Castle. So you get the Brody King is becoming a big name as far as getting the singles push goes. You got Leon Ruff defeating Johnny Gargano for NXT, becoming the new NXT North American champion. Haven't seen it yet, but I'll end up watching it tonight at 7 o'clock on Sportsnet 360 here. Candice LeRae defeats Tony Storm. Indy Hartwell's revealed finally, and Lorcan and Birch defeat Breezango to retain in the main event there. AEW highlights, obviously, like I said earlier on, Jade Cargill. Natural Nightmares defeats Butcher and the Blade in a bunkhouse match that was announced on AEW Full Gear 2020. MJF Wardlow joined the Inner Circle. Sean Spears defeats Scorpio Sky. Penta defeats Phoenix in an amazing match where they both almost had their masks ripped off. And then, where am I missing? Oh, and the big thing about that was Eddie Kingston was on commentary. He gets in the ring. He basically bashes Phoenix, says, Penta, hey, you don't need this guy. And then Pac makes his return, and Pac's wrestling next week on AEW Dynamite there. So Pac has finally returned. We go from the promo, which is absolutely amazing, now to him being back in North America. So I'm excited to see this. And then Mox was announced to be defending the almost said Impact AEW World Championship against Kenny Omega December 2nd on Dynamite. So Kenny Omega's gonna get his championship opportunity there. I don't know if it's gonna be tough. I might do a prediction show on that if they announce enough matches, but it'd be interesting to see if they put the title on Omega before the end of the year. But who knows? NXT UK highlights. Rampage Brown made his debut defeating Jack Stars. And then Trent Seven defeats Dave Mastiff to advance to the Heritage Cup Tournament Final. So I believe that is next week. I got to double check the date, but NXT UK, the tournament coming to a close over there. Ratings for the week. Raw at 1,690,000, 0.53 in the 18 to 49 demo. Fourth on the night for cable. Canada, they had 261,500 viewers. 111,600 were in the 25 to 54 demo. Second for the night in sports programming, right behind Monday Night Football, obviously. AEW 764.30 in the 18 to 49 demo. 17th for the night on cable. And then Canada, they aired on TSN2 and TSN5. Combined viewership, 101,000 viewers. So about 1/7 of what they're getting down there in the States as far as TSN goes. And then NXT, 632 for the night, 0.16 rating in the 18 to 49 demo. And then 56th for the night on cable. They can't seem to get any kind of momentum going on there as far as the US goes. And the thing is, they're being stubborn because they will not switch nights. And to me, as a wrestling fan, it's like, why are you making fans choose? Obviously, it wouldn't matter here in Canada, or would it? If they switched to Tuesday nights, would we get to see, NXT happen live here in Canada? Because I'll tell you this, I was upset when they took it off of WWE Network. I was upset because now all of a sudden I have to wait until Friday nights to get a condensed version of NXT. So it is what it is, but it sucks all at the same time as a wrestling fan because it's unless I do a dual screen where I watch AEW and then find a feed for NXT. But sometimes it's sometimes AEW is just too good to be concerned with NXT. And the thing about NXT as well, if it was on, yes, I'd be watching two screens. But the fact is, a lot of times they don't announce a lot of matches. They'll announce like maybe one or two, and all of a sudden they'll get to the show, and then 5 minutes before the show airs, it's like boom, here's like 3 other matches taking place. So it is what it is. And speaking of that, SmackDown preview, just looked at WWE.com, nothing posted as of yet. And yet they've got 205 Live previews. So 205th episode of 205 Live taking place. Must-see Fatal 5-Way match. Kurt Stallion taking on August Gray, taking on Ashanti the Adonis, taking on Tony Nese, taking on Ari Daivari. So they've got, like I said, 205 announced, but nothing for SmackDown, which means they're probably still writing the show. New Japan Strong preview for tonight. Main event, Tama Tonga versus PJ Black. And then Underground preview for tomorrow for MLW. CM Punk, Michael Shane taking on Raven and Norman Smiley. Big wiggle over there. And then Sabu and Mikey Whipwreck. So MLW Underground. This might be the final one because they are coming back next Wednesday. So check that out if you get a chance on Saturday, if you're not looking for anything else to do. This weekend, Talkin' Shop Mania 2 taking place tonight. That is Rise of the Torture, 10 p.m. on Fight. We've got Impact Wrestling Turning Point 2020 taking place tomorrow, 8 p.m. on Impact Plus. And then World Tag League 2020 Best of the Super Juniors 27 Night 1 taking place this coming Sunday on New Japan World at 4 a.m. Eastern. 14-hour time difference between anybody in Eastern Standard Time as far as Canada goes and Japan. But New Japan World, if you have it, you can always go back and check out the replay over there. It's funny. I always, when I'm doing my notes, I go and I get the stuff set up, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do full previews on it. And then by the time I look at the clock and see, how many minutes I've been into the show, I'm like, oh, and because it's still a lot more stuff I want to talk about. But anyways, Anyways, it is what it is. I'll leave it at that. MMA, Bellator 252, Pitbull versus Carell took place yesterday. One championship inside the Matrix 3 took place earlier this morning. That is up on YouTube. You can find the full video on cwnonline.ca sometime later today. And then tomorrow, UFC Fight Night, Makhachev hope I pronounced that right. Taking on Dos Anjos. That is tomorrow. That is for free. So the main card taking place 7 o'clock p.m. TSN 5, prelims 4 o'clock tomorrow, TSN 5 as well. Main event has Paul Felder taking on Rafael Dos Anjos, and that is, like I said, UFC for free taking place tomorrow on TSN 5. And guys, this is the spot where I like to take a break and have some water. And I don't know if I leave the graphic. No, I think that's the only stuff I shut down is what I just did on the screen. Anybody listening on audio, you probably have no understanding what I'm saying, but just the graphics on the screen if you're watching on video here. But I'm going to go and find the promo. And normally I do a back-to-back promo with Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling as well as Ryan Knight of the Knights of the Squared Circle. But it's been, like I said at the start of the show, one heck of a week. So I haven't had time to loop the two videos together. So I only have the one. But guys, sit back and listen to this. It's the newest video from the Scumbags of Wrestling and Sean Bates for the great Christmas deal that you can get through Scumbags here. So check it out, guys.
Hey wrestling fans, it's Sean from the Scumbags of Wrestling. It might not look like Christmas right now, but it is around the corner, and you won't want to miss out on this amazing deal in support of Sick Kids Hospital on behalf of Steven's Wrestling Journey. Right now, if you contact me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com, you'll get this amazing t-shirt designed by Nigel Lewis for just $30. And because it's Christmas, I'm going to throw in this stocking stuffer of a poster, 11 by 17, for free. Now you can still get this poster for $15, but you can get the whole combo for $30 right now until December 15th. So contact me at scumbagswrestling@gmail.com and support Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto and Steven's Wrestling Journey.
So guys, the music itself definitely makes you want to be festive, and yeah, definitely check that out. Sean Bates of the Scumbags of Wrestling, facebook.com/groups/Scumbags of Wrestling, scumbags.ca. I think his website still works there, but he's all about the email. So scumbagsofwrestling@gmail.com, as well as, like I said, facebook.com/groups/Scumbags of Wrestling. You can also go to CWN.ca, CWN, I wish it was CWN.ca, CWNonline.ca. And then you'll see Sean's logo there. So just click on the logo. It'll take you directly to the group. Oh, Sean says, doing my best Don West pitch. That's hard to say. Don't try to say it too fast. Don West pitch, obviously TNA Impact Wrestling there. So yeah, guys, this is where we usually do Canadian Independent Wrestling. So hashtag we are CIW. But I tell you this, there is a lot going on in the world, and a lot going on as far as Canada goes. So province of Manitoba pretty much shut down right now. So nothing to announce as far as CWE, Canadian Wrestling's Elite, because of this lockdown, so to speak. They are in, I think, the code red is what they called it. Yeah, so Manitoba enters code red, COVID-19 restrictions. So they're trying to get the numbers down again. So the premier has stepped in Manitoba and said, and for at least the next 28 days, starting yesterday, they're in almost full lockdown mode over there. So no shows taking place. Alberta restricts recreational sports bar hours to contain COVID-19 surge. That was announced yesterday as well. So Alberta being hit as well. Justin Trudeau right now stating that basically, the premiers, so to speak, need to step up and step in and do the right thing. He's not going to hold their hand, so to speak, but he wants them to basically do what they need to. And so Manitoba has done what they need to. Alberta's doing what they need to. So usually I talk about RCW, the Friday night fights, and RCW Saturday night fights. Not sure if they're taking place. One show is supposed to be taking place today. The next show for Saturday night fights was supposed to be taking place November the 21st. So guys, checked out Twitter, checked out Facebook, saw nothing new posted, but I can't see them being able to go forward with these events here. And then the only other event I've seen was UCW presents Top of the Class, November 28th in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So that is still taking place as far as I know. I haven't heard as far as anything happening in the Maritimes, but definitely check out the websites, Facebook, as well as Twitter to make sure that the events are still happening. But like I said, I can't see the RCW events happening at all anymore. I know CWE is on hiatus, and UCW, like I said, November 28th. Check out their Facebook group just to be sure. From there, Steven's Wrestling Journey. Big fan of his, Steven Spice. Everything he does online. He's got a new Stevens 3 with Chris Van Vliet. And then he goes and says he interviewed my hero, John Cena. And that was released on the 10th. So you can check that out on YouTube. He's also part of the Canadian Independent Wrestling group I have on Facebook there. His mom is Crystal Spice. So if you see anything by Crystal Spice, that's his mom. So she'll usually post his videos and stuff like that. New subscriber. I think we are up to 371 the last time I checked. I'm just going to quickly check that out because I started to get excited because I keep talking about the push to 400. And then next thing you know, it's like we're pretty close. And we're actually even more than that. Where are we now? 376. So 376 for the Canadian Independent Wrestling group. So guys, if you go to CanadianIndependentWrestling.ca, that will immediately forward you to the group. It being forwarded to the group. Add yourself to the group. It's basically a spot for you to promote your gimmick, any kind of shows you've got coming up, anything that you do as far as YouTube goes, podcasts, fantasy warfare tournaments, anything like that. I mean, feel free to post whatever you want. It's a group for Canadian wrestling fans, Canadian independent wrestling fans, Canadian independent wrestling talent, promoters. As long as you're courteous and Canadian on there, it's the main thing. So, I forgot all about So Sean's mentioned two things here. I'll post those. So Hybrid Championship Wrestling has a deal with Prime Video for 12 shows. They are out of Hamilton, I believe. And the news came out this week. So yeah, congratulations to them. I got Amazon Prime, so I'll be looking forward to watching them. As well as this was announced. I think I mentioned this on the show before, but Go Hard Pro, December 24th, free show on Christmas Eve, taking place on YouTube, I believe. And sorry, I'm multitasking right now. I'm just going to bring up Twitter because I sent Go Hard Pro a message yesterday with regards to their YouTube. And actually, so they did look like there no official YouTube channel yet is what they said. So as far as Go Hard Pro goes, yes, they will have a video for free on Christmas Eve with their whole Christmas show. But I just got word back as I'm doing this podcast right now that there is no YouTube channel yet. So look for that. And once it's up, you'll see the videos being posted. And you know what? I'm going to do that because I'm going to go into some talk right now on something that's near and dear to me. So where are we here? This and this. Yes, Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. And it's also screen sharing time. So I'm going to, let me see. What am I going to bring up first? I'm going to bring up YouTube first because I was on that subject. That's what kind of triggered my mind to do the whole screen share thing. So I'm going to do this, and I'll get rid of my face there. Yeah, that's better. I'll also get rid of these for the time being too. So guys, if you go to CWN on Twitter, YouTube, so it's just basically youtube.com/CWN online. That is the page right there. So you can see, obviously, Roddy Piper, huge fan of his, growing up as a kid and still to today. You can see his face at the very top there. But when you go through this, you can see I've sectioned everything off. So episode 13 taking place live right now. This section here for Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. So the two promo videos that I've done, Sean's will be added as well. Just a matter of time. It's just been busy. So from there, then you go to CWN Weekly. So you can find all 13 shows that we have done as far as CWN Weekly goes. CWN Recap right here. CWN Predicts. So the prediction shows I've done. Any of the fantasy warfare tournaments that I've done. So you see CWN online there, as well as Sean's support for Steven and Steven's Wrestling Journey. All 29 episodes of TNT Thursday Night Throwdown that we have done. Fantasy warfare tournament. So all the original ones that we have done. So if you click over there, it's me without the beard, and then Sean, and then Steven, of course. And then I don't know if I ever want to shave the beard again. All the way through to We Are CIW, which is anything related to Canadian independent wrestling. So you see Stevens 3 there. He had interviewed Eric Rowan recently as well. Ethan Page does stuff on a weekly basis. 365 Pro Wrestling does stuff on a weekly basis. Scumbags of Wrestling, they did a show last night. There's Sean and Jones. And then Bordertown Pro Wrestling, obviously, as well. And then Canuck Proud is basically anything that contains Canadians. And I've gone through this before, but it's just I'm just going through it once more. Edge's return at Royal Rumble, 21 million views, followed by Edge versus John Cena versus Big Show. So Edge is pretty big as far as YouTube goes. And then even here, he was at that show, WrestleMania 6. So, and then you got Jericho and Roddy Piper. And then very last is the wrestling theme song. So anything that's got to do Canadian based. So you see Jericho's WWE theme song, 2 million views. Jericho's AEW theme song, 43 million views. So like, holy crap, that's absolutely insane. But guys, as I was talking about before, right here, Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by CWN. Sean saying shave the beard. Forget about that, man. But he also says CPWHOF. Woohoo, vote now. And yes, I totally agree with that. So I'm going to bring up the website quickly here, and I'll go back to a screen share. Basically, I want to be able to show you how easy it is to vote. And it's a big deal to us because it's the very first time that we have ever gone and done this. And, it's always one of those things where all of a sudden it's like kind of probably usually late at night. And, I basically get an idea in my head and Sean's kind of like, why is this idiot messaging me at like midnight, and if he's up, he'll respond. But if not, he'll respond the next day. But this is the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame website. And again, it's just one of those late night ideas I had. I was like, you know what? We've been doing the website coming up in 2021 for 12 years. And, January 18th, 2021 would be the 12th year anniversary of the website for CWN. Myself, Sean Bates, Ed Simon, we're all the original crewmates, so to speak, that did the website. And then all of a sudden the idea of the website has existed now for 12 years coming up in January. So how do we take it one step further? And I was thinking, well, why don't we do a Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame presented by the website? And Sean was on board with that. And so was my wife, Christine, who's a contributor to the website. And this is the website right here. So 2021 class voting about staff contact CWN Online will take you back to the CWN website. You've got the big logo there, which if you click, it takes you back to the homepage. You've got news taking place on the left-hand side, social media accounts taking place on the right-hand side, and you subscribe to by email if you want to get notifications when anything new is posted to the website. So there's myself here, Christine, Sean. No, excuse me. And this is the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame website. Sean does great on his Scumbags of Wrestling podcast with regards to putting out the news with regards to the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. But like I said, I want to show you guys how easy it is to vote. So you get a 2021 class, and then you scroll down, and then you've got your categories here. So legend category, you've got male wrestler category, female category, tag team category, sharpshooter, siren, MMA, honor, as well as category number 9 to be announced on Monday, January 18th, 2021. So that is going to remain a secret until the live show that we do on the 18th. Honor category dedicated to Canadian wrestling journalist, manager, promoter, referee, trainer that excelled in the business. MMA, siren dedicated to a female Canadian independent wrestler with the potential to excel in the business. Same thing with the sharpshooter being a male wrestler. Tag team, female, male wrestler, and then the legend category. And we want that to stand out just a little bit more than the rest. So dedicated to a Canadian pro wrestler that competed prior to 1980 and excelled in the business. So guys, that is basically right there, how to vote. And then right below you see vote now, vote now, vote now. It's just that easy to vote for the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. I won't go into the vote itself because I don't want to have any kind of bias as far as showing people the results. But it is one of those things that you need a Facebook account to be able to vote. And once you voted, then you can see the results. But until then, you can't necessarily see the results until you voted yourself. So just keep that in mind. But that is, like I said, the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame website there. And it was a work in progress. And it was a lot of back and forth as far as messages and emails and this and that go. And the 9th category, which was kind of cool because it was presented to me by my wife who had mentioned it. And then Sean was on board with it. And of course, I was on board with it. And it'll be a pretty big deal on January 18th of next year when we announce who it's for, who it involves. And like I said, Sean and I were just on board immediately. And thank you very much to Christine for bringing up the concept of the idea there. So that is the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Like I said, cpwhof.ca is the official website itself. Then you've got the social media links scrolling across the bottom there. And then basically email is simply cpwhof at cwnonline.ca. So that is that. What do we got left here? So next couple shows I do will be CWN Weekly, episode number 14th. Episode 14, November 20th. So live next Friday. I don't know if I'll be doing it at 3 p.m. or 7 p.m., but it'll definitely be live. So look for that. That's episode number 14th, November 20th at 7 or 3 p.m. live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Next weekend, Survivor Series weekend. You'll see two shows. CWN predicts WB Survivor Series 2020. That'll be November 22nd at 3 p.m. If it's not live, it will premiere at 3 p.m. But like I said, it'll be next Saturday, November 22nd. Sorry, next Sunday, November 22nd at 3 p.m. And that's either live or premiere on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitch. And then CWN recap. Taking place Survivor Series 2020, November 22nd, 11 p.m.-ish. And then live on YouTube, Twitch, as well as YouTube, Facebook. And basically, that'll be as soon as the show goes off the air, within 20 or 30 minutes usually. Best way to get in touch with the show is right there. So guys, feedback at cwnonline.ca. So there's the best way to get in touch with the show there. You can also hit me up on social media. So Chris at cwnonline.ca is my email address, or Chris Maloney CWN on Twitter or Instagram. So the toughest part of this show coming up right now for me is this here. So like I said, guys, I've announced early in the show with regards to the banners and being blue. And World Diabetes Day takes place tomorrow. Hashtag #NDiabetes is the official hashtag for it. Saturday, November the 14th, 2020 is the date. So like I said, I'm rocking the blue hat, the blue shirt, the blue banners. And anyways, I'm gonna say this. It's been a tough week. And, I talk wrestling and mixed martial arts on the show here. And I've been doing it now for 13 episodes. And, it's interesting because I'll always talk about people's birthdays and anniversaries and, stuff like that. And, if anybody, is in need of help, so to speak, I will go through. I will talk about their their GoFundMe's, or I will talk about how you can reach them and how you can help them out and get in touch with them and this and that. So it's like I said, it's been a tough week. And 2 days ago, November the 11th, my cousin, 18 years old, passed away unexpectedly. 18 years old, type 1 diabetes, and his blood sugar was tremendously high, and they couldn't do anything for him. He ended up going into a diabetic coma and ended up passing away at the age of 18. And it's my mom set up a GoFundMe for him. And right now they've raised over $15,000 in 2 days for my family. His mom, his dad, his sister, there in New Brunswick. So instead of crying on the air, I just wanted to bring that up and say, I'll miss you. And I love you. And yeah, Jonathan, until we meet again.